The video you're about to watch will explain in great detail how to start and scale a business that requires zero past experience, zero cash investment upfront, and capitalizes on some of the most powerful technology that we've seen in the past decade. So today you are getting a full-length course on the best AI-based business model on the market right now. I'm going to explain the model to you so you know exactly how it works and why it's so great. I'll show you exactly what the work looks like, and I'll show you how to build a client base of business owners that'll pay you anywhere between $2,000 and $20,000 a month each. And then obviously how to scale up so you can comfortably get to mid six figures a year in profit or more. 2025, last year, was a big year for AI copywriting. This model got my friend Sonia here from 0 to 40K a month in 4 months. I got Evan to 20K a month just 3 months after graduating high school. It took Amanda from 0 to 50K a month in 6 months. It took Bo from 0 to 80K a month, less than a year out of dropping out of med school. And literally nobody is talking about it. It is crickets out here. So I believe that this video is the exact playbook that'll get you to 10 to 20K a month for your first time ever at some point in 2026. So 2025 was my first full year running this specific model, and here's how it went. So I started in January, I did 9,000 in profit my first month, so not too bad. The month after, in February, I hit 41,000. Coasted there for a bit till I hit 52K in July, then 70K in September, and I kind of chilled out for the rest of the year. And I hit these numbers mostly part-time. This was not the only thing I was working on. My average week consisted of about 9 to 12 hours of work. Less than half of my clients wanted consistent meetings, which is perfect for me. And I wasn't tied to a desk, and I'd say about 20% of the work I did was from my phone. Here's what my day would look like. Wake up around 8 a.m., hang out, do a 2-hour work block in the morning, then eat lunch. And if there was anything else I had to do after that, I would knock it out real quick. Most of the time, I was only working past lunchtime, like 1 to 2 days out of the week. And if I was doing that post-lunchtime work, it was mostly from my phone. So the point of this video is to explain front to back what this business looks like so you can start for free in 2026. And real quick, before we get into this, I'm not sure if you're just kind of shopping around for different opportunities or whatever, trying to find the right one to get into or trying to find the best fit for you or whatever. But there is literally no other business where you can make this much money without having to shell out a ton of cash to get started. You don't have to hire any VAs. You don't need to build out any sort of infrastructure or anything. You can do this for free. It's the freest business that you can start. You need a laptop and a phone, and that's it. I started this business originally when I was broke as fuck, excuse my language, and I pulled myself out of the trenches in about 60 days. Now with AI in the mix, all the barriers to entry are mostly gone. You're automating most of the fulfillment. All you need to do is work your ass out to get some clients and you're set. I know it sounds like I'm hyping it up a lot, but it's really important that you pay attention to what I prepared for you here because it was a lot of work and it's a lot of information. And if you take it all in, you could actually build yourself a legitimate business this year. And if at any point in the video you're thinking, okay, I want to do this, I believe that this can work, I actually want to put a good amount of time into building this business, and I want this Cardinal Mason guy to help me do it, there is a link in the description for you to figure out how to work directly with me to do so. Now let's get into it. So chapter 1, what is the service we're actually selling? What is AI copywriting? What does it consist of? The traditional definition for copywriting is writing promotional messages for businesses to help them sell or promote something, but that is not anywhere near all you offer as a copywriter. Copywriting today includes various types of digital marketing services that you would use to grow someone's business. Copywriting back in the day was just writing emails, or just writing product descriptions for someone's website, or just writing blog posts. Those gigs still exist, but those are not the same high-paying big boy or big girl gigs that'll get you making 20 to 30K a month. A well-trained copywriter is like a fractional CMO, chief marketing officer, which means you have such a deep and fundamental understanding of marketing and psychology that it doesn't matter what the mechanism is that you sell. It doesn't matter if it's emails or product descriptions or whatever, because it's probably not going to be just one of those things or any of those things. Like for example, Victoria makes almost $40,000 a month doing social media services for med spas. And the way Amanda makes her money, 50 grand a month, is she ghostwrites books for influencers. Griffin makes 30K a month writing long form sales pages for people to sell pills that grow your Johnson. This is true, by the way. And you have Tommy, who makes 30K a month doing the more like traditional growth operator kind of stuff, like working with core sellers. And then Sadia makes 11K a month doing email marketing for e-commerce brands. So it literally sounds like completely different business models if I list them off like this, but they're all the same because they all use the underlying principle that is the skill of copywriting. And once you have the skill, it literally does not matter which path you take. The reason you get paid so well is because you are a Swiss Army knife marketer that can pretty much accomplish anything that needs doing. So being a copywriter means having an above average understanding of the things that drive people to take action. Whether it's buying a product, signing up for an event, committing to a challenge, donating money, or something else that would require effort from an audience, your job as a copywriter is to subtly give them reasons as to why it's a good idea to do so. So copywriting is what's called a layer 1 skill set. Layer 2 skill sets are the things that you sell, such as email marketing, SMS marketing, SEO, which is search engine optimization, CRO, which is conversion rate optimization, short form script writing for Instagram and TikTok, long form script writing for YouTube, writing VSLs, which is a video sales letter, ghostwriting for Twitter and LinkedIn, funnel building, advertising and media buying, lead generation. These are all skills that are made possible by being a good copywriter and can make you multiple six figures a year. That sounds like a lot. Don't get stressed out. Like I said, having a good understanding of copywriting will allow you to reverse engineer literally all of these things. And even if you're using AI to do most of the work for you, which you will be, it still benefits you to have a grasp of the principles of copywriting so you know if it's doing a good job. Now, if there were ever a time to take notes, right now would be that time. I'm going to give you 7 copywriting principles that you basically need to keep as a checklist whenever you or AI produce a piece of copywriting. This is the stuff that doesn't get taught anymore. Since AI started to take off about a year and a half ago, especially in the copywriting world, people don't teach the old school fundamentals that the OG copywriters got rich from. Guys like David Ogilvy, Gary Halbert, Dan Kennedy, Clayton Makepeace, Eugene Schwartz, these are some of the godfathers of copywriting. And back a couple decades ago, they were making millions of dollars per day because they had this skill. And by the way, they definitely didn't have the tools you have now. They were sending direct mail. They were sending pieces of mail to people's homes with a sales letter attached, hoping that someone would mail back a physical check to buy whatever it is that they were selling. No fancy Facebook ads, no special TikTok hooks, no Sydney Sweeney in the bath. Just from words on a page alone. These guys were generating 8 figures a week, brother, from words in Times New Roman. AI can write copy now, and it can do a pretty good job, but it couldn't do what those guys did. Certain sentences in the right order, written the right way, were literally like magic. And the human psychology that responded to that type of marketing back in the day didn't just go away, which is why if you really grasp these concepts, you can do it too. AI is good, but it still needs a human in the loop to make it great. So if you have these things locked down, you are going to be the one who gets paid big. So here are the principles. I'm going to explain each one. Principle number 1, the more human, the better. You ever heard the phrase, write like you talk? That is probably one of the most important rules in copywriting that you could possibly have. And literally, if you're already trying to do copywriting, and especially if you're using AI to do it, changing things up to make it sound like how someone would literally speak is going to be the best thing you do. It'll make it convert better right away. Like if you take an email you wrote for a client or a script that they're going to recite on Instagram, and you just change up some of the language in there to make it sound like a human speaking instead of a robot or instead of whatever, just like someone trying to write fancy, it's going to perform way better. You will make more money. When I write copy, I use the word literally and like all the time. I throw in filler words that'll make it look like I'm literally having a thought process as I go. The easier it is for someone to read, the better it's going to come across. And humans buy from humans. So if you're going to write, it has to sound like it's coming from someone who is just like them. This is the main downfall of AI copywriting, is everyone can tell when you didn't edit it. Everyone can now tell when ChatGPT is literally just copy and pasted and put on Twitter or LinkedIn or an email or whatever. You see the M dash, you see the little quirks that AI writing has, and people immediately turn off. They hate it. So the more human, the better. That's principle number 1. Principle number 2, be clear, not clever. This is something a lot of brands try and do where they want to sound cute. They don't want to actually get the message across properly. They just want to sound cute. Like imagine if I got up on here on this video and I said, you can turn your ideas into income with the power of tomorrow. The fuck does that mean, bro? It means nothing. But if I say something like, I will show you how to create an e-commerce brand based on your passions that will make 20K a month, that's a lot more clear. When people try and get cute, it's not cute. It's really fucking annoying. And it does not convert. So a lot of people will do this because they think that Apple does that, where it's like they have all these abstract sort of phrases that they'll use to try and sell something. You're not Apple. You're not. Always be clear. If you feel like you're trying to get too clever, don't do it. Just say exactly what it is you're trying to say. The clearer, the better. Principle number 3, benefits over features. So remember, when you're selling, people don't buy a product, they buy what the product does for them. So when you buy like a fitness machine, like when I was a kid, it was like the Bowflex machine. You wouldn't talk about how many cool pulleys and levers it has. You would talk about how if you use this thing for 30 days straight, you're gonna have abs. Like people ultimately don't care about the product. That's not really why they're buying it. They're buying it because there's something that's gonna benefit them. Their life will get better because of it. So sometimes you will sell on features if it's like a car, for example, where it's like a Corvette. You talk about how much horsepower it has, you talk about it 0 to 60 or whatever. But at the end of the day, what's really making someone buy the thing, the car, is not how fast it is 0 to 60. It's more so how they're gonna look when they're in it. That's why when you have a car commercial, it's not just listing off stats. It's usually showing a road trip with a family or talking about how cool you look when you hop out of like an Audi or something. or how it makes you look more professional, or how it helps you make more money if you're in real estate or something like that. Pull with a cool car, you're gonna close more deals. Always focus on benefits, talk far less about features. Principle number 4, details equals trust. So I'll use myself. When I talk about my inner circle, I don't talk about how a bunch of students make a lot of money. I talk about Lila, started from 0, was in sales, hated it, transitioned to AI copywriting, now makes $12K a month doing AI copywriting. And she works 5 hours a week. Sorry for the plug, just being real, but it means a lot more to you to hear exactly what happened, exactly what the story is, instead of just me using some vague figure, because it doesn't sound as real. And Lila is very much a real person. Principle number 5, speak your buyer's language. Depending on who you are writing to, like which audience you're talking to, the way you write is gonna be very different. If you are writing copy for a women's weight loss supplement, you're gonna speak differently because you're speaking to women who are probably in their 30s or 40s, even a guy who's trying to buy a weight loss supplement. The problems that they have are each very different. So a guy would buy a supplement because he looks disgusting and he's not getting any attention from the opposite sex. A woman also might buy the supplement because she's not getting attention from the opposite sex, but also because she feels like an outsider in her friend group. And she's supposed to be in her prime and she doesn't feel like she's in her prime. That's scary for her. And if it's a guy who's older, he's in his 50s, maybe he can't be a good dad to his kid because he's too out of shape. All of the problems are different depending on who you're talking to. So you have to figure out exactly who the reader is, or the audience, and speak their language. Principle number 6, lead with emotion, close with logic. So I'm assuming you've heard of a hook before. You know what a hook is. So your opening has to be very emotionally driven. The thing that's gonna grab someone's attention is something that's gonna be very emotional. That's why people always use like cute animals in their ads or whatever, or attractive women. So you have to grab them with the feeling, and that doesn't have to be a visual thing. It could be like the way you write. And then when it comes down to actually closing the deal, closing the sale, whatever it is, you close with logic. So they're bought in because they feel like this is gonna solve their problem. And then at the end, you have to talk about how it's logically a good decision to buy whatever thing they're trying to sell. And then principle number 7, nobody cares about you, make it about the buyer. And this is just a mistake that people make a lot, where you talk about what the business does versus what the customer gets. So it's kind of similar to benefits over features thing. But even for you as a copywriter, if you're pitching somebody, you wouldn't say, we do email marketing and send a bunch of emails for you. Like, maybe you could say that, but really what you should be focusing on is we send emails so that you can collect more revenue from your email list that's just been sitting dormant. You get free money for hiring me. That's basically how it should look. Stop making your copy about you, make it about the customer. I can't stress this enough. Just by acknowledging and following these principles, you're already ahead of 90% of people on the planet in terms of copywriting ability. And I don't even think it's that important for us to get into like copywriting structure in this here free course, because AI is gonna cover that for you. Chapter 2, how do we use AI to get the result that we want for our clients? So let me just give you some context on like what AI actually does. So AI is not automatically a good writer, especially not automatically a good copywriter. What makes good copywriting is knowledge of the person you're writing on behalf of, the subject matter that you're talking about, and the audience as well. And a lot of times when people try and write AI copy by themselves, they don't include any of that stuff. They'll just say like, I'm Cardinal Mason, write me an email to my list about why you should buy my course. That's a terrible way to go about it, because they don't know who Cardinal Mason is. They don't know what the course is. They don't know like why they should buy the course. They don't know anything about it. The more information that you have as a copywriter, the better your copy is going to be. Therefore, the same is true with AI. But the good news is when you're delivering this service, I'll show you in a sec, but it's going to require a huge brain dump of all kinds of stuff that you need to put into AI so that it knows what to do. And then once that's done, you can kind of give them whatever you want. So if you want an email, a short form script for Instagram or TikTok, or a long form script for YouTube, or a VSL or ads, or any of that, like literally anything you need to do as a copywriter, it's all gonna be based off the first big prompt that you do. And obviously before you put that prompt in, once you sign a client, you're gonna get on the phone with them and you're probably gonna ask them a bunch of questions about stuff that you need to know. And I've talked about this before. You're gonna basically need to know their backstory, who they are as an entrepreneur, how the business works, results that they've gotten, everything that's gonna make you understand like basically how to do a good job here. And this is standard for any agency that you would ever run. If you're an advertiser, you would do this. If you're doing short form content, you would do this. If you're a ghostwriter, you do this. No matter what, you're gonna need this information. So when you bring a client on, you're gonna need all this information. Now, for 99% of the stuff that I do for my clients, I use Claude. I don't really know why. Just from what I've seen, Claude is the best writer. ChatGPT is good for research, and Gemini is kind of just like good for using Google really fast. I haven't really fucked with Gemini much. It's really just Claude and ChatGPT that I like to play with. Claude is really good for writing. It sounds a lot more natural. I feel like it listens better. And now that it has memory, which wasn't a thing, I think 3-4 months ago, now I believe it to be the superior LLM. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen here, and you're gonna see me work with Claude. So I'm gonna pull this prompt in. By the way, I was thinking for the fake client that I'm gonna use for content here, we're gonna talk about Rob the Bank, my boy. So he had, back in the day, he had this program called MDBC, Million Dollar Brand Club. And I just figured, I don't know how active they are anymore, so it would be easy for me to just sort of like air out all this stuff. So I'm gonna take the prompt in, I'm just gonna show you what it looks like. So let me copy it in here, and it's long. I'm just giving you a warning here. Okay, so I'll show you what all this stuff actually is. Oops, let me go like this. Oh, that looks like shit. All right, so we have Million Dollar Brand Club is a program that shows working adults with access to capital how to build a private label brand on Amazon. That is exactly what the product does in one sentence. So by the way, you're gonna go in and fill this in just like I do, because I had to do it, so do you. So I can even paste the prompt in the description here, but you're basically just gonna take out information that is specific to this, but keep the same structure. So for example, brand is a program that shows demo how to do XYZ. The program includes course modules on creating the product, how to grow with Amazon's organic marketing capabilities, and other e-commerce best practices for beginners. Includes weekly coaching calls with Robert Oliver, which is Rob's real name, where he can answer questions about starting and scaling your brand. And then I have a description of Rob, face of the brand from whom the emails will be sent. So right now we're setting this up just for email, because 90% of the time, that's gonna be like where you start. I feel like most copywriters, like they start with email because it's like easy, low hanging fruit. They can do all kinds of stuff. They can do VSLs, they can do ads and short form content, whatever, okay? And then I have all this stuff here you can kind of read on the screen. And then we have the email copywriting brief. So as Rob's email copywriter, your job is to find unique ways to pitch this product to an email list of 30,000 people. I'm guessing that's how many he has. And inspire people to make an investment in themselves so they can start to grow this business. People reading these emails have typically seen multiple pieces of content of Rob already, familiar with his personal brand, So as you can see here, I'm just like giving a ton of direction to like what Claude is supposed to do. And I have musts. So the word must is very powerful when you're using AI. You need to be stern. You literally need to train it like a pet. You must always make these emails fun to read, first and foremost, since the audience is younger, has a shorter attention span. Emails must provide the email list with some sort of inspiration that will lead to a sale. And then we talk about tone of voice, like a big brother at 32 years old, We talk about who he is. Humor is encouraged, but again, must be dry, subtle. Okay, by the way, and I've learned this, AI is not funny. Writing in general is not funny unless it has this sort of dry, subtle, sarcastic humor that I'm talking about here. If you're going to have it make jokes, make sure it comes off like this, or else it's like AI humor. Have you ever asked ChatGPT to tell you a joke? It's never fucking funny. It has to be this. It has to be like it doesn't know it's being funny. That's the best way for it to come across. And then we have any cliches. Okay, above all, these emails must sound human. Any cliches typically utilized in the writing style of LLMs must be avoided. Must be avoided. You see how I keep saying must? So this takes out all that. It's not this, it's that, and the M dash and all that stuff. Before you write your first draft, ask me 5 questions that will, this is very important, 5 questions that will allow you to create high quality, high converting copy that will be used to write these emails. These 5 questions can be around Rob's personal brand or product. In order to ask me the best quality questions possible, please search the web for any information on Rob the Bank. To understand him further and get the basics out of the way, ensure that the information you collect is from the correct person. So that's super important too, because it'll start pulling random stuff. You have to like basically bleed into giving you the right stuff. So let's send this prompt out. Let's see what he gives me back. Okay, he's kindly updating me about what he's doing. Okay, so now we got our 5 questions back. So what specific objections or hesitations does your list typically have about investing in the program? And then you have, what are the most common aha moments or breakthroughs your existing students have experienced? Beyond the 30 million exit story, what are 2 or 3 other personal stories or experiences from your journey that the audience doesn't hear about as often? So again, this is stuff that you would probably need to know from the person directly. I'm just gonna make it up for the purpose of this video. 4, what does the investment look like? What's your ideal buyer look like? What's one belief, and this is 5, one belief about the Amazon FBA or building brands that you disagree with that most gurus preach? So I'm gonna take a second and answer all these just in like one sentence, and then we're gonna start to produce some content here. This is just a YouTube video. We don't have to go too crazy here, but it'll still give you most of what you need. So there you go. So AI's loving it. Claude loves it. This is exactly what I need. Yeah, I bet it is. Before I write the first draft, I need one final piece of context. What's the specific goal? Goal of this email? Okay, yeah. Your goal is to write a welcome email for when somebody first subscribes to the email list. So this is gonna be, okay, so I don't know if you know this, in copywriting world, a welcome email is very important. So when someone first subscribes, the first touch point that you get is a pretty big deal. And so we're gonna try and get people to book a call to MDBC so that they can get closed for 10K or whatever it is, okay? So I'm gonna say that right here. Your goal is to write a welcome email for someone who subscribes to the email list. They're likely opting in from a piece of content on IG or YouTube. This email should be a brief intro to the business model and should entice people to watch the VSL on the next page. We're not asking them to buy anything. We're simply asking them to click the link to watch the free training video that explains the model and how they can get started as a student inside MDBC. This email between 400 and 500 words. Okay, so that's what we sent in. So giving them the goal here, telling them what they need to do. And this is most of the time what you're gonna be doing is prompting people to go watch a VSL. Make this email between 400 and 500 words. So what do we have? You're in, here's what happens next. Rob here, if you're reading this, you probably saw one of my videos and thought, I need to figure out what this guy's doing. Smart. Okay, already sounds like Rob. Like a sort of like cheeky kind of thing. I'll keep this short because I know you didn't sign up to read my life story, but context matters, so here's the 60-second version. I started my Amazon brand in 2016 with 3K and a gym supplement idea that probably shouldn't have worked. It did. Scaled to 8 figures. This sounds like Rob. It's very abrupt. Sold for 30 million when I was 26, built a few more brands after that, made some money, lost some money, learned a lot. Now I teach people how to do the same thing. Get rid of that shit. No MDEF. Minus stupid mistakes I made along the way. Business model is simple. Find a product that people actually want, sell on Amazon, let their infrastructure do the heavy lifting, and collect checks while you're at the beach or the gym or wherever you'd rather be than a cubicle. Okay, I like this. This sounds really good. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not passive income. It requires real money up front and real work on the front end. But once you nail the product market fit, and again, we'll get rid of that question mark, turn that into a comma. The cash flow is better than any service business, and you're building an asset you can actually sell. I've seen products go viral on Amazon, like genuinely viral. This is actually how he talks too. Get rid of these, turn them into commas. With the growth surprises, even them. Italicize that. That's what happened when you get the model right. Amazon's algorithm rewards winners and it rewards them aggressively. Love it. Dude, this is how he talks. I love this. If you know Rob, you know how good this is. Here's what most people get wrong. They think Amazon is too saturated, too competitive. It's not. It's just that most people are lazy and pick garbage products. If you're willing to think for 10 minutes and do actual research, you'll lap 90% of sellers before you even launch. The reason I'm telling you this is because of something I'll call life maxing. Okay, this is a little on the nose. We'll probably get rid of this. Big money isn't the goal, living a good life is the goal. Money is just a tool. I didn't sell my brand so I could sit in a one-bedroom apartment in Kansas watching my bank account grow. Okay, it's pretty much exactly what I said. I would probably change this. One thing that Claude does is it takes what you say a little too literally. So if you give an example, because I said, like, don't want to be in a one-bedroom apartment in Kansas watching my bank account grow. I said that. And it just used that word for word. But ChatGPT will sort of like get the idea and say it in its own words instead of saying exactly what the fuck I said, but it's whatever. So I travel, train, build things, care about, not anyone. That's the game. Build a brand, scale it, exit, do it again if you want, or don't. Just don't waste your 20s making someone else rich. If that sounds like something you're interested in, I put together a free training that walks through the exact blueprint I use to build multiple 8-figure brands on Amazon. It's not fluff. I hate when it says that. Get rid of that. It's the real model step by step. Click here to watch it. Talk soon, Rob. Okay, this is pretty good. I would put this at like 75% of the way there. And I would probably make small changes to it just because I know Rob and I know how he talks and I know probably what I could get away with if I were writing for Rob. But this is pretty good. So this is just a welcome email. And a welcome email is good. It's like an email that you need to have. But what are you gonna do if you have 3 or 5 emails a week that you're supposed to pump out for Rob? This is what you do. You say, based on what you know about Rob, give me 5 email topics that the audience would get value out of regarding quitting a 9-to-5 or building the life of their dreams or anything that will motivate them to take the next step. Actually, you know what? Give me 10 email topics and let's just see what he says. Okay, this is good. This is actually really good. 6-month test that separates builders from talkers. Interesting. Nobody tells you about your first month. Okay, this is where I can add personality. So let's do this. Okay, so I'm doing this, but I'm also like, I'm framing it where it's a little bit cooler. So let's see what it does with this. Board a flight to LA and I realized I haven't sent anything this week. Quick thought that's been on my mind. Okay, cool. Super casual. You would never think that this is AI. So like, again, adding like 2% human touch like I just did makes it seem like it's not AI. Most people spend their entire lives optimizing for 48 hours. Monday through Friday is punishment, something you endure. The goal is to make it to 5 p.m. Friday so you can do what you want to do for 2 days before the cycle resets. That's insane. I would even add like an LOL in there. You're spending 70% of your waking life waiting for permission to live the other 30%. The worst part, I hate that, no question mark. Most people think this is just how life works, like it's some sort of law of nature that you have to hate most of your life in exchange for a paycheck and 2 days of freedom. It's not. I'm not saying don't work. I work more now than I ever did in 9 to 5, but I work on things I care about when I want to, and I'm not asking for anyone for time off to live my life. That's the difference. Building a business isn't about escaping work. It's about escaping the cage, the commute, the meetings, the 2-week vacation cap, asking for permission to take a Friday off. You can build a life where Monday feels like Saturday, where you're making real money and you're not watching the clock, but you actually have to start building something. If you're tired of the Sunday scaries and the countdown to retirement, I made a free training that shows you exactly how I built multiple agents. Watch it here, boarding now, Rob. Man, even AI Rob is cool. This guy's the coolest motherfucker on the planet, bro. I'll give you one more because this is gonna be super relevant. So do you guys know what a webinar is? A webinar is a live event, live training, whatever, where someone like Rob will go through and share a slide deck, like a pitch deck basically, on how to build the model, and then at the end they sell something. So webinars are very popular because if you have a big audience, you can get like 10,000 people to sign up for a webinar. And if you get 4,000 people live, that's fire, and you get 10% conversion rate, you make $1 bajillion. So let's see what we could do if we wanted to do like a, and by the way, if you're gonna do emails for a webinar, it would be like 20 emails, not 3, but let's just see what it does with 3 emails. Let me prompt it again and I'll show you. Oh, by the way, you have to tell AI when it does a good job. So I have to give him a pat on the head. Great job with the tone of voice on that one. Rob, you make Rob genuinely sound like the coolest dude ever. Here's the next challenge. Rob is doing a webinar. Just say. Okay, so I patted him on the back and then I said, here's the next challenge. Rob is doing a webinar on January 7th. We need emails to send to his list on the 4th, 5th, and 6th to get people to register. The webinar would be all about how you can build a brand and make your first sale on Amazon in 30 days or less. It's a 90-minute private presentation that people need to sign up for, and it will be an insane amount of information. I would probably, if I had more time, I would add more here, but then I just have write 3 emails total that'll promote this webinar and inspire people to sign up on January 7th at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Each one should be 500 words. Amp up the urgency in each daily email. So let's see what it does. We got 3 emails. Okay, I can already tell this shit sucks. January 7th, 8 p.m. EST, I'm doing a live webinar, 90 minutes. I hate when it says no fluff. I would probably just get rid of this and just say the exact blueprint I've used to build multiple 8-figure brands on Amazon. The topic, how to build a brand and make it for sale in 30 days. Not 6 months, not eventually, 30 days. I know that sounds aggressive, but it's not theoretical. I've done it. My students have done it. If you show up and pay attention, you'll know exactly how to do it too. Here's what I'm covering. Bullet, bullet, bullet. This isn't a replay. It's not gonna be available afterward. If you miss it, you miss it. Good urgency. I'm doing this because January is when most people convince themselves this is the year and they have to do nothing. I'd rather you show up, get information, make a real decision, period. Either you're in or you're out, but at least you know what we're saying no to. The webinar is free, but spots are limited because I keep small enough. So this is pretty good. Again, I like when it does sort of like the stern voice thing. I like it. See you Tuesday. Let's see you 2 days to the webinar. I've been getting messages from people asking if it's really worth it to spend 90 minutes on a Tuesday night learning how to build an Amazon brand. Let me answer that with a question. What else are you doing on a Tuesday at 8 p.m. that's worth more than learning a skill that could generate 6 figures in the next 12 months? Watch Netflix, scrolling, pretending you'll get to it eventually. Here's the reality most people don't want to hear. Nothing changes until you change, and change requires information you don't currently have. Right now, you probably think Amazon is saturated, too competitive, requires too much capital, is too risky. Cool, show up on Tuesday and I'll explain why all that is wrong. Okay, yeah, no, this is fire. This sounds just like him. You can read the rest of this. No replay, no, I'll catch you later. I don't like that. It sounds AI. If you don't show up, and again, anything that sounds AI, you just cut it out. That's the point, where AI is doing 90% of it, you do 10%. You literally copy this into Google Doc and take out the parts you don't want. Spots are filling up and capping registration tomorrow night. Even if you're remotely curious, just sign up. What's the worst that happens? You spend 90 minutes learning something new? There you go, okay? Last call. This is it tomorrow night, January 7th, 8 p.m. After tomorrow, this webinar doesn't exist. No recording, no second chance. Okay, it keeps doing this thing. I don't like that. Again, I would cut that out. I see people register and the same people who are gonna wake up on Wednesday morning, realize they missed the exact information they've been looking for. Don't be that person. Here's why it's happening tomorrow. And then they go through it again. 90 minutes live Q&A at the end is the most information I've ever packed into a single session. If you're thinking about starting something, if you're tired of trading time for money, if you want to build an asset instead of just collecting a paycheck, if you want a real start, exit in 2-3 years instead of 401k in 40 years, show up. I'm happy with this. All of this stuff would work. This is what you can look forward to when you're using AI to write. Like, again, all of this is because I did that big prompt at the beginning, told it exactly how to write, exactly how Rob sounds, exactly what his values are, and now everything comes out pretty much done. Okay, so now you know how to do emails. But there's other stuff that you can do with this too. So you have the context profile in there. AI knows who Rob is. You can make other stuff out of this too. Let's go back to the email you wrote with the subject line, stop optimizing your life for weekends. Turn this into a script for an Instagram reel that Rob can recite as he's about to leave his house. So I'm adding context here. This will be a selfie style video that he'll record from his living room. Keep the same message, but make it sound like something that would be read. Add filler words, make it sound even more casual, make it feel like something he's just saying off the dome. Make it sound as human as possible, keep it under 60 seconds. So let's see what happens here. Because again, this is what Hermosi says. You make one piece of content and it turns into a bunch of other pieces of content. So you write an email, it turns into an Instagram reel, a tweet, a LinkedIn post, maybe even a YouTube video. Okay? It's one idea that branches into other stuff, and you can do this as a marketer. Yo, quick thought before I head out. Most people, not pause, I'm assuming, they spend their entire lives optimizing for 48 hours, right? And this is literally how Rob does talk. Like Monday through Friday is just, it's punishment. It's something you endure. The whole goal is to make it to 5 p.m. on Friday so you can do what you actually want to do for 2 days, and then the cycle just resets. That's fucking insane. You're spending 70% of your waking life waiting for permission to live the other 30. And the worst part is people think this is just how it works. Like it's some law of nature that you gotta hate most of your life in exchange for a paycheck and 2 days of freedom. It's not. I'm not saying I don't work. I work more now than I ever did at 9 to 5 with the things I work on and care about, But you actually gotta start building something. Anyway, link in bio if you wanna learn how I did it. I'm out. Walks toward door, video cuts. Okay. That's kind of tough. I feel like that would work for Rob. So you can see how like this is something that I just out of nowhere, like it took 2 seconds to turn this email into something that Rob could actually just read off and say. Okay, great. Now let's turn it into a tweet. Let's try and compress the entire idea into a 240 character post that keeps all the most important parts and cuts all the fluff. Make it sound as human as possible. Let's see what it does. I don't like it. And this is just my own knowledge from Twitter that I'm putting in there. Okay, I would even flip this. So now I have to use my own sort of tact. So I would put like wild how most people optimize their entire lives for 48 hours. Monday to Friday is just something. That one didn't really work out. Like this is probably how I would fix it, but even still, I feel like that's not like a tweet. At least not by my standards. Okay, so I'm coaching it here. I said I get that at 4 to 10. Let's try something else. So just so it knows that I don't fuck with it, give me a tweet that can get people to register for the webinar using the same ammo using their emails, 240 characters max. Let's see what it does here. Okay, if you have aura, you could tweet like that. Sometimes I would probably make fun of anyone other than Rob for tweeting like this, which is fine, but all right, let's see what it does with a story carousel. Because again, actually, there's a student in the inner circle named Matthias who is actually making fucking bank just doing story carousels for influencers just like this. So let's see what it does with this. Okay, slide 2. This is getting recorded. If you miss it, you miss it. I'm covering product selection, launch strategy, cash flow, everything you need to go from 0 to sale. 30 days. Most people skip this and wonder why nothing ever changes. January 7th, 8 p.m. EST. Tap the link in my bio to register. I would just get rid of this in my bio because you could just embed it on the thing. But like, that's kind of cool. And you can literally just copy and paste that onto a picture of Rob if you were going to make that for him. As you can see here, like one prompt gives you all kinds of different content ideas. Like we turn it into a reel. If we have more time, we could turn it into a YouTube video. This stuff is endless. So hopefully at this point, you've seen that nothing we're doing is particularly difficult. It's more so just in terms of like, how well could you prompt it and how well can you sort of add taste? Because AI will never have taste. You're a human. You have taste. You know if something sounds good or feels corny or feels stupid. You should have that. So if you have that gene, the taste gene, then you're perfectly fit for this. And so now that we know roughly how AI is going to actually produce results for these clients, let's talk about how we're going to get these clients in the first place. Chapter 3, how do we land clients? So this is probably going to be the thing that you have the most difficult time with. You're going to be wading through the trenches. You're going to be talking to different people on social media. You're going to be sending cold emails to people. You're going to be looking for all these people. You're not going to know where to find leads. And then you might pitch someone who like clearly has no money and you can only get like $500 out of them when you could have gotten 10 grand from somebody else. There's all these things that can go wrong no matter what you sell. Like no matter what service you're in. Doesn't matter if you have an email marketing agency, or you have an advertising agency, or you're doing whatever. It doesn't matter. That's always going to be the roadblock. But if you remember what I said at the beginning, there's all kinds of different stuff that you can sell to people. So the thing that's going to be the most difficult now is just identifying what it is that that person actually needs. And I promise you, if you can crack this, outreach is going to be easy for you. The reason people have a tough time doing outreach is because they're offering the same thing to everybody. Like you're going back to a video I made 5 years ago about email copywriting, and you're pitching email copywriting to everybody under the sun. Like we talking about, you don't go to the hairdresser because you got sent an email. You go because your hair looks fucked. Every business needs something different. And remember, as an AI copywriter, you are a Swiss Army knife. There's a billion things you could do for people. But mentally, I feel like that's where the block is going to be. You don't really know what you're doing and you feel like you don't want to piss anybody off. You don't want to, miss a shot with a massive entrepreneur because you just don't know what you're doing. So if you've never had a client before and you've never run a business before and you don't want to embarrass yourself, the best thing that you can do is start with friends and family. Now, if you're 18 years old from a small town and you don't know anybody who has a business, that makes it more difficult. You might have to do a little more digging around, but for the most part, you either have like a friend or a friend of a friend or a family friend or a family member directly where they have something that you could just use to basically practice with. And you could either do it for free or you could get paid to do it depending on how good of a salesperson you are. For example, my mom had a friend who was a mortgage broker. And when I was starting my copywriting journey back in 2020, I got an intro basically from my mom, and I was talking to this guy and I was gonna do his website for him. And I asked him, I was like, hey, does your website actually mean anything to you? Like, do people who eventually become customers of you, like, do they see your website? And he was like, yeah, like everybody sees the website. And I was like, okay, well, wouldn't it be worth it to invest into making this look a little bit better, make it look more premium, make it sound more premium, have a better picture of who you are on there? And he was like, yeah, that would make sense. And so me as a copywriter, there was all this low-hanging fruit that I could do for this guy who was just a friend of my mom's because his website wasn't that good. He wasn't a copywriter. He didn't know what he was doing. It just everything looked all messed up. It wasn't very clean. So he ended up paying me a couple $100 to redo his website and rewrite it. And that was a huge game changer for me. And this was before AI. So I had to go in and figure out what a mortgage broker even fucking does because I honestly, I still don't know. And it took me probably a good 6 hours to redo this website and make it work for him, but whatever. It was $500. Back in the day, that meant a lot to me. Now, I could still probably do the same thing today because a guy like that who's a mortgage broker probably doesn't mess around with AI very much, definitely doesn't know what marketing is. And there is zero shot that I would pitch him and say, I could fix this for you. And he would say, well, I'll just use AI to do it. I don't need you. So now you could literally make a website with Card, C-A-R-R-D, and you could write all the copy with AI and it would take you about an hour and you could get paid $500 to $1,000 for that. I undercharged. I should have charged way more. So friends and family is a great place to start because these people already trust you. And most of the time, if they know you're just like starting your own business and they're gonna actually get something out of it, they'll give you a shot. Like I never ask because I honestly don't give a shit, but I'm pretty sure that my improved website for this mortgage broker made him more money, made him look more legit, made him more trustworthy, got more deals through the door. And if you're just starting, you can do a couple of those to get some money in, get some practice in. But once you're ready for the real stuff, this is how it goes. So when you are doing cold outreach, there are three things you gotta look for. You gotta look for the audience, like the size of their audience and also like the quality of their audience. You gotta look for if they have a good sales page. And on screen right now, I'm gonna show you what a good sales page looks like where you see a good headline, it's styled nice, there's a VSL on there, there's an application for whatever they're trying to sell, and then you have testimonials at the bottom. A lot of people don't have that. A lot of people just have like a Calendly link to book a call, like if you're an influencer or something like that. It's stupid. Don't ever do that. So you have those two things, and then you have infrastructure, which is stuff that you usually can't see. So infrastructure usually means like, do they have email and SMS set up? So unless you opt into the funnel and like do all the stuff, like, for example, if you book a call, do they have pre-call sales emails going out? Do they have campaigns going out? Do they have emails if you missed the call or any informational stuff in the meantime? Like, do they have that? Do they have SMSs going out? Like, that's the infrastructure stuff. And all of those things are things you need to look for if you're looking for clients. And by the way, this is specifically info we're talking about here. I feel like that's where most of the leverage is for a lot of you. If you're doing e-commerce and you're trying to get clients for e-commerce, you literally just download a lead list from Apollo or ListKit of all e-commerce brands, and you just pitch them email marketing or something like that. Or if it's software, which you can also do, you can just pitch them whatever you want to pitch them, like sales pages or whatever. With info, it's a little bit different because you're going to use Instagram. And Instagram DMs is literally the way to go, no matter what. So based on what they have, so for example, we're looking at the audience thing first, right? So they might have 20K followers or 15K followers, and they're getting like 1,000 views a video. They might have a good sales page and good infrastructure, but they don't have enough traffic going to any of that stuff because their audience isn't that big. So that's the type of person that you would pitch Instagram services. Like you pitch them on scripts so you can help them grow. Or if you understand how ads work, you could help them grow with that as well, where it's like you just take, videos of them and then you throw them on ads and then you can grow that way. Or maybe they have, a fairly big Instagram. They have like 75,000 followers on Instagram and their videos are getting some views, like between 10 and 50K views a video, which is pretty solid. They might not have YouTube. So you can pitch them on scripting long form YouTube videos. And that could be a client where you easily sign 5K a month plus 5 to 10%. And if they have all of those things, but they have a shitty ass sales page or just a Calendly link in their bio, then what do you pitch them? You pitch them on a VSL sales page. You pitch them on, you could do $5,000 to $10,000 for the entire build out. And you could even do rev share on that too if you want. And then in terms of infrastructure, if they just need email, which you would know by opting in, and then if you receive emails, or if you don't receive emails, then they would need to be pitched that. That would be something you could pitch. Tommy Lutzenheiser, one of the boys of all time, and he makes content about copywriting. So I'm gonna go through, he's got 10,000 followers. He gets about 1,000 to 5,000 views a video, sometimes a little bit more. So I would pitch him and I would say, yo, Tommy, dude, First of all, I love your content. You are the homie. I literally love everything you post. And I can see that you have the free training in the bio, so you kind of know what you're doing here. The funnel looks great. I want to help you with content though. So I'm a copywriter, I'm a marketer. I think that you deserve way more eyeballs on what you're doing. And I want to start scripting stuff for you so that you can start to see some results on socials because like, dude, you're way too handsome, you're way too funny, you're way too cool to just be getting like a couple thousand views a video. I think that you should be growing way faster. You should be at like at least 10,000 views a video. I really want to help you out. If you're interested in how I can maybe do something like this, like I can send a video to show you, you know, what the process would look like. And I would hit send on that voice now. So like I said, super casual, super relevant to Tommy. And it's something that you already know how to do because you are a copywriter and you have AI in your back pocket, and it's something that Tommy actually needs. Now, if it were a sales page thing, let's flip it around. Let's pretend Tommy had like 100,000 followers and just like a shitty Calendly link in his bio. I would say something different. I'd be like, yo, Tommy, dude, love your content. You've been killing it for a while. My mom actually saw you on her For You page and she thought that you looked really good and she wanted me to pass this message on, but this voice note isn't about that. What I actually want to talk about is you don't have a sales page that's really doing anything for you. So you have all this traffic, and I would guess that you're probably making about a third of the money that you could be making, probably less, because you don't have this well optimized. You need to have a fire VSL. You need to have all your social proof on there. Right now you just have a Calendly link, and it's kind of doing you a disservice. So if you don't mind, I kind of want to show you via Loom video, like what this would look like if I built you out a sales page and, you know, probably what it would do for your numbers. So again, super casual, talking about something that's relevant. We're not degrading him by saying like, dude, your sales page sucks. What's wrong with you? You're an idiot. We're just telling him that we have a solution. We could probably help him out. Or I'd be like, yo, Tommy, dude, love your Instagram stuff. I don't know why you're not doing long form stuff on YouTube. Like, I'm a script writer for YouTube. You know, I want to script you videos based on your short form stuff that can go on YouTube because that's where you're going to get the most juice. You're going to get the most clients out of that. It's really going to work for you. And then if you want to pitch infrastructure, be like, yo, Tommy, dude, you're absolutely ripping. I saw your content, love it. Saw your sales page, love it. Notice you don't have a ton on the back end though. So I know you got a ton of eyeballs coming in. The sales page is good enough that you're probably converting a lot of people on the front end, but you probably have enough eyeballs where you have a big enough email list that this would actually matter. Otherwise I wouldn't even pitch you. But you probably have, let's just say, I don't know, 10, 20,000 emails sitting there. I didn't get any emails. I don't know if there's an issue with it. Maybe I could take a look at that if you want me to. But if you have, you know, a bunch of emails and you're not using them, I guarantee I can squeeze some cash out of that for you. Like I can book some calls for you. I can help you sell more of whatever you're selling. If you have 10,000 people who've never been hit, man, I would bet that there's low six figures sitting in that email list that I can unlock for you. So let me know. All of these are a similar way to pitch different things. So we're approaching it with, I'm still holding my phone because I'm doing fake voice notes, but we're doing voice notes or messages or whatever is going to make you feel the most comfortable to get this message across. But you're trying to show that you are a real person and you are acknowledging that they're a real person. You're not AI, you're not a robot, and you have a specific solution for them that they need fixed. And if you were taking notes at the beginning of this video like I told you to, I gave you a whole list of stuff that you can do for people. And you basically just need to look at someone's profile and do a checklist. Be like, do they have a VSL? Yes. Do they have a decent sales page? Yes. Do they get views? Can I script content for them? Yeah, they get views. Do they have YouTube? Do they have email? Do they have SMS? There's all these things that you can do for people. And it's literally on you to figure out what that is so that you can pitch them the right thing and get the deal. And the whole point of this is that you're opening a conversation. So is someone gonna hear your voice note and automatically send you $10,000? Probably not. You're gonna be going back and forth. They're probably gonna ask you questions about the service, for which you either, if you're in a circle, you can ask me and I will literally walk you through the deal. Or you can just use AI, and AI might be able to give you some good enough answers that you can feed back to the potential client. But the whole point is that you wanna get them on a call so that you can actually pitch them the full service. And on that call, you're gonna talk more about their business, you're gonna build rapport, you're gonna screen share and show them examples of emails. It doesn't have to be your emails, it could be literally just whatever you find in your inbox. Just something to show them where it's like, this is what we're gonna do for you. This is a sales page that would look good for you. This is the type of YouTube channel that I could build for you if you let me script your stuff. They will then ask you your price. You tell them basically the highest number you can think of. If they ghost you, then you knew it was too high and you should probably go lower next time, or they'll probably negotiate a little bit. Whatever you want to charge is what you should charge. So I was actually on the phone with someone the other night and I'm notorious for undercharging. So as a beginner copywriter, I probably could have made way more money if I actually charged what I wanted to charge, but I was low-key scared of charging too much because I didn't want to get ghosted. So I left a lot on the table. And then there are people like Evan Hansen, who the reason he's making 20K a month at 18 is because he doesn't overcharge, but he charges what's fair. And sometimes I'll be like, man, don't charge that. That's crazy. Why would you charge 10K for, a single sales page or something like that? And then he'll pitch that number to the client and then they'll close on it. So it really depends on your personality type. Pretty much whatever you feel comfortable charging is what you should charge. And then once they pay, which they will pay up front, you just do what I showed you in chapter 2 and you start prompting AI with all the stuff that it's gonna need for you to deliver the results for your client. I really wish it was more complicated than that, like I really do, but that is probably the most difficult part of what you're gonna be doing here. Like I said, because AI has made the service fulfillment so simple, the most difficult part is gonna be getting clients, and some people are naturals at that. Like one of the reasons why Bo, my student, makes so much money in this model, $80,000 a month, isn't because she's like a phenomenal marketer or copywriter, it's because she's a really good salesperson. And so now with AI, this is her dream come true because she doesn't really have to do any work anymore. All she does is just sling deals, like 10 and 10s to everybody. And by the way, before we go into the last chapter, friendly reminder, if you would like to work one-on-one with me and my team and you want to build this out and you want us to basically help you do it with you, alongside you, link in the description, and we can work. And you can be a case study and we can get you to 20, 30K a month. All right, chapter 4. This video is almost done. I know you're watching this thinking, man, this is so valuable. This has taken me hours of my life to film. How do we scale? So here's something you have to understand about my students specifically. Copywriting, AI marketing is a lifestyle business. It's something that you can do where you can make pretty good money and it's not that much work. And so because of that, they don't really go that hard. A lot of times what happens is they get to $8,000 a month or whatever, and they're like, dude, I'm making twice as much as I was at my job. I'm just gonna chill here. And they stop doing outreach and they kind of just coast. But if you are the type of person that wants to scale, this is what you kind of have to do. For you to have a full pipeline, basically people who are always ready to go, you need to be pitching like 40 to 50 people a day. Like those little voice notes that I did. When you watch me do it, like it only took me 30 seconds to actually make the fake voice note. You need to do that 40 to 50 times a day. And that's minimum, by the way. And there are millions of people that you can pitch. There's no reason why you can't get off 50 a day, if not more. Some people claim that Instagram will block you, but if you're verified and you're sending out different messages every single time, and you're following people and you're commenting and you're actually engaging with the people that you're reaching out to, then you're not gonna have this issue. I know people that hit hundreds a day, and it's totally fine. So rule number 1 is that you need to be consistently doing this. Even when you sign clients, do not stop doing outreach. This is a mistake that everybody makes. Doesn't matter how much money they're making. Like there are guys that'll get to 50K a month and they'll be like, oh, I'm chilling. I'm not gonna do any outreach anymore. And that's fine. Again, if you're at 50K a month and you just want to chill, that's totally cool. But if you want to scale, if you want to grow, if you're at 2K a month, you want to get to 50K a month, this is what you have to do. So the outreach has to be nonstop, basically. It should be like a routine, like a habit. Like it should just be a thing that you do every day. Because if a client only takes you 2 hours a week to fulfill, what else are you gonna do the rest of the time? I'm assuming you don't have a supercar yet, so you're not driving out, doing fun stuff, donuts in the parking lot. You're probably not like on a jet to Petty where you can go and fuck off there. You're probably just in the trenches. You probably don't have the money yet to do all the things you want to do, so you gotta work. Like if you want to treat this like a real job, 8 hours of your day, if not more, should be going towards outreach. Like it's a proven offer. Why would you not just hit as many people as possible? So at the beginning, especially 40 to 50 a day, even when you have clients and you're signing people, 40 to 50 a day. But once you have clients, there's stuff that you can do. So there's 2 main things you should focus on. First thing is referrals, and the second thing is case studies. So if I work with Tommy and I grow his social media from 10K followers where he's at now to 30K followers and he starts making way more money, he adds an extra 30 grand a month to his bottom line, I'm going to be telling everyone. I'm gonna take that case study, I'm gonna have a document that says, here's Tommy at 10K followers, here's Tommy at 30K followers. This is what I did, and I'd list every single thing that I did. I'd list how I came up with the videos, I'd list all the stuff that he did. I'd list the videos that popped. I'd show a screenshot of his revenue from, let's just say January when he was at 10K followers to March where he's at 30K followers. I'd be like, he did 50K in revenue here and he did 150K in revenue here, or whatever, just like make the document, the case study. And that would be something that I share with everyone, obviously with Tommy's permission. You need your client's permission. You can blur their name out or whatever. But I would say, instead of reaching out to people like Tommy and saying, hey, I could do this, I'd be like, hey, I helped Tommy Lutzenheiser, however you say his name, I helped him go from 10K followers to 30K followers, which doesn't sound like a lot, but I also tripled his revenue. And he was already doing 50K a month. And I would really like to help you do the same because you don't have a ton of followers and I want to grow you because my stuff works. This is how you supercharge it. Like once you've gotten results just one time, you can use this case study in your outreach. You could tweet about it. You could post it on your Instagram story. You could do whatever you want with it. Like this is gold for you. Like my first big case study was that I worked with CrossNet. So like one of my first ever copywriting gigs, I got hired to this agency and I was working with CrossNet, which was a pretty big brand at the time. They've since sold, shout out Chris Mead. And they were a big brand. When I would pitch other e-com brands, because that's what I was doing at the time, I was mostly just doing like e-commerce, email marketing. I'd say, hey, I used to work with CrossNet, or I still work with CrossNet. And they love me. You would love me too. Let's work. Or I'd say I worked with Disco. Disco was a huge client for me back in the day because they were like the popular kid in the D2C community. And I'd be like, hey, I work with Disco. I actually, you know what? I'm gonna pull it up right now. Okay, holy shit. Yeah, I have it right here. This is actually a good friend of mine now, Tim Morris. I cold pitched this guy. Back in the day, there was an app called Clubhouse. It was like Twitter Spaces, but like on a different app. I heard him on there. I basically pitched him on email marketing. And I said, I'm actually doing some work on the email team for Disco. And he literally said, hey man, sorry, just saying this, would definitely be interested, especially if you work with Disco. What are the payments like? Wouldn't be an upfront cost. Give me more info when you can. Also make sure it's not a conflict of interest with Disco. So literally just me dropping that I worked with Disco at the time made Tim, who literally one of my favorite people of all time, like we've become great friends, made him go nuts. So how do you scale? Once you have one client, all you gotta do is nail it for them and you'll basically have proof that you can nail it for anybody. So that's the case study method. The referral method is, it's as simple as it sounds. You pay your clients to get you more clients. And you can literally just give them 10% of whatever you bring in. So for example, if they bring you a deal and it's one of their friends and they need something similar like email marketing or sales page or whatever, and you sign them for 10K, you send them $1,000, they're gonna continue to do that. That's free money. I don't even know if that needs an explanation. I'm pretty sure you kind of get the point. But the reason people have trouble scaling is because they stop doing the things that made them successful. So they stop doing outreach, they stop working as hard, they buy a Corvette, and they move to Miami or some shit like that, and they just completely fuck off. That's not how you scale. That's how you stay the same or shrink or die. So as long as you are consistently doing outreach every single day, even when you're up and you get your case study and you use that in your outreach, and you get referral partners who will send you deals in exchange for money, 20K a month, 30K a month, 50K a month, here we come. Okay, so here's the thing. I understand that this is just a free course on YouTube. This is not everything that I've ever learned. This is not everything that I could possibly teach you. You might still have questions, which is totally cool. I encourage you to DM me on Instagram. I encourage you to go to @CardinalMace. Hit me with a DM, ask me whatever you want. But if you are, like I said at the beginning, at the point where you feel like you are ready to take the next step and you want to take this seriously and you want to do this business, we can work together. I have a link in the description where you can watch a short video that'll explain to you what the offer is and how I help and how we can do this together and how we can make you just as much money as we've made thousands of other students. So I am seriously grateful for you watching this whole thing. I don't know who's gonna watch this whole thing. If you're still watching this far into the video, you deserve like some sort of cookie or something like that. So thank you for hanging out. Like I said, DM me if you have questions. Like, subscribe, whatever. I'm making content all year about AI copywriting, all the crazy stuff that it can do for you and your bank account. Thank you so much for hanging in there. I'm Cardinal Mason. I'll see you in the next video.